Seniors, do not underestimate the power you have in the voting booth. It is massive, and with the Nevada primary election coming up in 1 week from today, AARP Nevada, they're asking you to be the difference. Joining us now from AARP Nevada is State Director Maria Den and Sherman Conley, who's a volunteer leader. It's great having both of you. Welcome in.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Last time you were here, we were talking about the Be the Difference Vote campaign. Or remind us what exactly that campaign is.
The campaign is really about incentivizing people over 50, actually anyone, even someone as young as you, to get out there and vote. We know that typically in a general election, over 90% of the 50 and older came out and voted. This year, in the midterm elections, we know that close to 200,000 people did not get out and vote.
Wow.
So the Be the Difference vote is really letting everybody know every vote counts.
Absolutely. Sherman, I know that you've been spending many weeks and months and pushing this message. Let's talk about why you're so passionate about, especially the 50 and over community, getting out there to vote.
Well, because I think the coming years, as far as elections are concerned, are going to be very important to us as senior citizens, because it's going to deal with those aspects of our lives that we need, and that's Social Security, Medicare, and prescription drugs and those kinds of things. Now, it's not currently prominent on the radar, but that's the time I get the most worried, because that's when things begin to go around, and then all of a sudden we come up and find out that this was being talked about and we have no knowledge of it. So you have to be vigilant. And as seniors, we're not, at this particular point in my age, I'm not able to go out and do protests and marches and all that kind of stuff. So the power to vote is where I still have my power. Exactly. That's where I have my power.
Well, I mean, when people say, oh, the midterms are coming up, November. November is the end of the midterms.
Exactly.
It starts with this primary. So often you hear people say, well, I don't like either of them. Oh, they're so bought and paid. This is the opportunity now to have your voice be heard, to get the right candidate in there, isn't it?
Correct. And we hear a lot of bickering and we hear a lot of mudslinging. And
you do?
You do. You just turn on your TV.
I don't even have to do that.
Yes.
Just surround it. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's the power of that one vote to let our elected officials know that we're vigilant, we're watching. And so if we don't get out and vote, then 200,000 people not coming out to vote at midterm elections, that's a huge number. And it affects, as Sherman mentioned, our issues around Social Security, Medicare. They're not sexy issues to the politicians,
but they're incredibly important.
But they're incredibly important.
Yeah,
yes.
No question. And this is what's in stake, especially for this midterm election coming up. So let's talk about specifically what it is that AARP has their spotlight on. I know that you don't specifically say, hey, this is the person you should vote for.
No.
But you make sure that you have people look at certain issues.
Correct.
And it's definitely Social Security, Medicare. What else would you say?
Prescription drugs. We know that I was just picking up a prescription this week, and the woman in front of me was not able to pick up her prescription. It was too high.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and that pains me because I can go and pay for my prescription, but to see this person needing something, not being able to pick it up, or someone like Sherman say, I'm not feeling good and I hear he's not taking his prescriptions, is incredibly unfortunate. So we need to get out there and vote. We don't support candidates, we don't give money to candidates, but we do work on our issues. And we work on our state issues at the state legislature, and we work on federal issues. So we work a lot on caregiving. So when you look at your elected officials running for office, what are those issues even on their radar? Yeah. And a lot of times they're not. So someone like Sherman,
they should be, because this is the voting block that shows up.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. And now nationwide we have 36 governors and all the representatives, and we have a governor's race here. We have congressional races. We have lots to worry about, and we need to make sure every vote counts. We're also working on a ballot issue, which maybe at another show we can go delve a little bit deeper on it, and it's No on 3.
Oh, this is No on 3. This is regarding the electrical.
Correct.
Getting rid of a monopoly. So right now we have one electric company, but we have a board that says this is what you can charge. Saying Yes on 3 says, hey, you can have 15 electric companies, but they can charge whatever they want.
Exactly.
Some states, I know, having been from Massachusetts, they have that. And what ends up happening is you have some solid electric companies, but then you have some real shady figures, characters and companies coming into the market, which end up preying on the senior community. Is that why you're no on 3?
It's no on 3 for specifically that, but if you look at our state, we have a lot of co-ops, and I don't think as Las Vegans we understand that co-ops in our rurals really serve customers at cost, and that could disappear. So co-ops are very, very concerned, and we've been talking to a lot of rural Nevadans who are afraid that they will not have that choice. So choice in this instance is not a choice.
Certainly. Well, it's great having you, and we'll make sure that we get people out to vote. Primary, you got to vote, but I think it's happening next week.
Yes.
So you got to get out there and make your voice be heard. It's great having both of you.
Well, one thing I like to say, as far as seniors is concerned, it's very easy to get distracted by all the flack and everything that's going around and the controversy and so forth. But we have to be very cognizant of what is in our best interest, and that is Social Security, Medicare, prescription drugs, and things of those nature, because that's when we begin to need those. I'd like to go back quickly to a question, I think a statement that made by a gentleman by the name of Bakley. I may have his name wrong, but he said there are people who cause things to happen, there are people who watch things to happen, and there are people who wake up and say, what happened?
That's the truth, and we got to make sure people aren't waking up and saying what happened. They want to be a part of what happened.
Correct.
Make your voice be heard at the primaries next week and in the midterm elections. Be the difference and vote. Learn more about AARP Nevada by visiting the website on your screen. You can also follow them on Facebook and Twitter. AARP Nevada is a proud sponsor of the Morning Blend.